Okay, now we will solve a question in C++. This is the question, a task challenge. Create a class. We need to create a class, dog. Class name is dog. We use class keyword, then name dog. We need to create a method bark. Method always having these parent brackets. And whenever we call that method, it prints Woof. So call the method by creating object. We need to create object of the class. For this class, we need to dog class. We need to create an object, and that method, this bark method, will be called inside of the main function. This is the, we need to write the code. Okay, now this is the question. Same, you erase the total code. As I told you that this is what your code editor, online web editor. This is your online web editor. So here no need to download your install any IDEs like CodeBlocks, Visual Studio. You can write the code online editor and you can edit the code here. Okay, you can write the code, edit the code, run the code here. That's why it's an online editor. Now same question is what? Include, first include. Okay, include what? Some library, that is IOStream library. That is very important to work with input and output objects. Next, using namespace standard. Namespace standard, it is a standard, is a library which will be used to work with whenever you want to keep names for your methods, variables, and objects. Okay, now then after, first of all, what you need to create a class with class keyword dog. Your class name is dog, question. Okay, next, flower braces. Inside of this flower braces, okay, the class is declared. Okay, now inside of this class, dog class is declared, created with the class keyword dog class created. Next is what? Access level. I told you that public is what? Public, this is an access level of this class. All of the class variables, methods, any part of that, they can be accessed outside. Public means outside of the class. This colon is very important. This is defining of access level of this class. All the data members can be accessed outside of the class. Next word, method is what? It needs to display Woof. So it just displays, not returns. So we will use void keyword here. Then method name. That method name, that is, question is what? Method is what? Bark method. Okay, so it prints not returns. So we will use void keyword. Okay, method is bark. So come here, void this, then bark keyword, bark method name. Then after, keep flower braces. Okay, now what happened here? So inside of this, this will print means cout. Object will be used with insertion operator. It will displays on the screen what? Woof. Okay, now Woof means here that Woof is a string. Okay, Woof, it is a string. So kept inside of the double quotation marks. Understood that? We need to get what? Display Woof. Okay, Woof this. So it will be displayed on the screen. Now method created. Now that method to be called where? That method to be called where? Outside of the, means that method to be called by creating a object. So object, how object will be created? In main function, that is very important. Main function, bracket, main function. Next, flower braces. Now this is a main function. Now end of the main function, return 0. That is very important. What do you mean of this? Means there is no any statement. After this return 0, there is no any statement. Now whatever inside of the main function, create the object first. For what class? Dog class. Object is what? Any name, XYZ, your name. equip my name Vasu, there is no need. Vasu is an object for dog class. Okay, now created, that is what, dog is a class, object created Vasu, anything XYZ, your name, my name. So now we will call this method with this object name. Now here, come here, now call that method. What is that method? Object Vasu dot operator. Now method name is bark. Bark method, always method and functions have these brackets, terminate. Now your object is created inside of the main class. Object created, Vasu is an object. You can write Vasu, XYZ, anything you can write. Just but suitable object name for this is dog class, and object for you can write like obj dog. Obj means object created for dog class, like that. Okay, object created for dog class, like that, suitable one codes. Okay, now you run this code. What happened if it is being called proper? You are getting error. Why? Because this is here, it is to be terminated with the where here. This is very important. You have not kept it. There is what, and this is what it is giving somewhat like what, so you remove this like what, you come here. Okay, now you run this code, and if it is being run, there is one more Vasu is what? Vasu is what? Why? Because you have changed the object name, like object dog, so you need to keep this as obj, because you have changed the object name. Okay, obj dog class object. Now run this code. So this output Woof to be Woof. So it means successfully you have written the code, and means you have cracked that question. You have cracked which question? This is one question. Up to this whatever we have learned. So this is a question, that question to be solved. Okay, question is what? We need to create a dog class with class name. Okay, and one method, bark method, it needs to print Woof. Just prints, not any calculation. So that void keyword will be used at the time of. Okay, and if it is to be calculated that moment, what type of output will be written? So that is a return statement. We need to write return statement. Okay, so this is, if you same code, include IO stream using namespace class dog public access level, void used here. This is the bark method. Void, why void? Because it returns only Woof. If it returns anything, that moment we need to use here int type of dog. It will return int, otherwise float, whatever. If it returns int, we need to write int. Okay, like that. And then this is called the declaration of the method inside of the class. Declaration of the method is the method declared inside of the class. Okay, method, this up to here, this is the method. Okay, method brace open, brace closed, class closed. Now one object to be created inside of the main function. That is what, for what class? Dog class. This is the object name. Object my dog, object my dog, whatever yours XYZ, but suitable. Then method to be called with the object name. Without, we will check back that without calling, without creating of any object, we will call this as simply class method, so that we will check back that simply if I want to call this as simply bark. Okay, means as a class method without accessing of, so we need to check back that. So object created, this is the object created for the dog class, and now that method that is being called, bark method is being called with the object name. So methods also can be called without creating of object. They can be called with the class name also. In the next class we will see whether methods they can be called with only class name without creating of any objects. We will check back in the next class. Okay, generally methods can be called in two ways: by creating of the object as object methods, otherwise with class names. So In Java, if